So you've decided that you actually want to be wealthy, and guess what? You want to become a millionaire. Veronia, who doesn't? Well, if you're like me, you might also be thinking, I don't really have a rich family so I can inherit it, and I don't actually plan on playing the lottery either. So how can I actually become a millionaire? Well, don't worry, because Auntie V's got you there. So I'm going to be walking through how you can realistically become a millionaire. And no, there's no get rich quick schemes here either. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronia and I talk about things to do with money, your career, and having a positive mindset for success. So if that does sound great to you, then you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification below so you don't miss out on any new videos. So Veronia, can normal, and I mean average people, become millionaires? Well, I actually think they can, because talking from personal experience, I also plan to become a millionaire too. Now yes, there are some options where you can try and win the lottery, or you can try and become the next Bill Gates and end up having a 7-8 figure business, but for most people that might seem like a little bit of a stretch. So how else can you become a millionaire? Well, to make a cake, I think the ingredients you need are investing and compound interest, and really just adding the sprinkles of time, consistency, and discipline. Because as Einstein mentioned, compound interest can be considered the 8th wonder in the world. He who understands earns it, but he who doesn't pays it. Okay, so what is compound interest? Okay, so how I understand it, and sorry if it doesn't really sound that technical, but I kind of see it as you basically have your principal sum and then you get interest added onto that, and that then becomes your new sum, and then you get interest added onto that again, and that is what compound interest is. So it's basically more interest being added to the principal sum you have. So then once you accumulate that interest, that then gets added to the new sum, and then so on in the next period. Does that make sense? What? Okay, so let's use an example. Let's say that you have £100 and you decide to take that to your bank, and that bank is going to offer you about 3% interest just for letting you keep the money there. Though I'm not even going to lie, if there are banks offering 3% interest rates, please guys let me know, because at the moment my bank is like less than 1%. But anyway, with this example, by the end of the year you'll actually end up having about £103. So your £100 was that principal sum, and then that £3 was the interest you gained on that sum. So 3% of £100 basically, which is £103. I feel like I'm going back to school with all these percentages, so yeah, bear with me if I do get something wrong, but I know it's £103 at least. So then let's say you decided actually after you got that 3% interest rate, you want to keep that money in the bank for another year. So the 3% interest rate isn't going to change, but that 3% interest that you get is then going to be on the £103 rather than the £100, because that £103 is now your principal sum. So then by the end of the second year, because you've now had a 3% interest rate on that £103, that then means that by the end of that second year, you'll actually have £106.09 in your bank account instead. And that is basically the power of compound interest. So really, the longer that you're able to leave it in the bank, the more it will start to compound, and your principal sums will also start to increase as well. So really, the more time you have, the more you have the opportunity to actually let your money compound and grow over time. Now, let's say you were in this climate and you decided, okay, that means that I can start saving to become a millionaire. So you decide that you're going to save £1,000 every single month in the bank. And with this climate, I'm going to be quite nice but conservative at the same time and give you a 1% interest rate. So that would take you just over 61 years to become a millionaire. Yep. 61 years, not accounting for inflation. That's all well and good, but at this rate, that means I'll end up becoming a millionaire at 86 years old. So what's actually the point? I mean, can't I reach it faster? Yep, and that's exactly where investing comes in. Now remember, I am not a financial advisor, so do make sure you are doing your own research, and also remember that investing does have risk as well. You're not always guaranteed to make money, and you could also lose money as well. So again, make sure you are doing your research and considering the risks. But by investing, you could potentially get higher returns, especially when you compare it to the interest rate from your savings account. Now again, before you ask, I do have videos on how you can actually start investing, especially if you are a beginner. So of course, I'll be sure to put that up here for you and in the description below. So let's say you decided to start investing in the stock market, and on average, you're actually able to get a 6% return on your money compared to the 1% in your bank. And to be honest, that could be considered quite conservative. Well, with the example that we used before, if you were to invest that £1,000 every month, rather than it taking you 61 years to become a millionaire, you can actually end up becoming a millionaire in half of that time. So yes, you could potentially become a millionaire after 30 years. Again, I'm not accounting for inflation just because I don't want to overcomplicate it. Millionaire by 55? Now that's more like it. So you can see that because you're investing rather than just saving your money and you're getting that higher return, that's really likely to make a difference in terms of how long it takes you to actually become a millionaire. But what if you don't have £1,000 to invest every single month? Does that mean it's game over then? Well, I don't necessarily think it is, and for me, time is probably one of the more important factors. So of course, you guys already know it. Let's hop onto my laptop and I can explain it in in a bit more detail. So I've actually got a compound interest calculator that I like to use, and we're just going to look through some examples to figure out how long it might actually take you to become a millionaire depending on how much you're investing each month. So I have got my trusted calculator, so of course I'll put that link in the description below, because I do think it's a fun exercise to do, especially if you are looking to retire early, for example. Then this is a really good calculator to use. So let's say in this example that we have got about £300 to invest each month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to pounds because I am from the UK, so pounds it is. Obviously if you're from the US or another country, hello there, but they do have dollars and euros here as well. So what we're first going to do is we're just going to fill out this calculator. So what the initial balance is if you have any money now at the moment, so if you've got a balance. So at the moment in this example we're going to say 0 because we don't currently have any money. We've only just started investing for this example, and then in our example we're saying that we have been able to get a 6% on average return. So I'm going to put 6% as the interest rate, and that's just going to occur yearly, so we'll get that 6% every year. And then in terms of years, let's try and see, okay, let's see if it's going to take 50 years or less, and then that compound interval is going to be yearly, so we're going to look at yearly. And let's say in terms of how much we put in each month, it's about £300 that we're going to deposit. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate I'm going to calculate it without using inflation. So ideally what you would be saying here is if you did include inflation, let's say the inflation rate was about 2% each year, every single year you would deposit slightly more. So you would deposit £300 plus that 2%. So for example, in that second year, rather than just depositing £300, you would be depositing £306 because that's another 2%, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, and if it doesn't, just let me know and I'll try and explain it in a bit more detail. So we're going to do it without inflation for now, and we're just going to press calculate. And yes, it does mean that we then end up becoming a millionaire. So if we look down here, our total investment value by the end of those 50 years will be just over 1,078,000. And in terms of the interest, so the return that you would have got from your investment, that would be almost £900,000. So you can really see the power of compound interest once you start investing. And also it has a balance breakdown, which I really like. So you can see the difference between, obviously we didn't have an initial balance before, but in terms of the deposit, so the money that you are actually putting in during the first few years, you can see that you're actually putting in a lot of work from your deposits, but then you can still see that it starts to shift, and I can see maybe around 19 years that really the total interest, so the return, actually starts to compound quite a lot. So I always just find this graph just really interesting, just to see what time can actually do for you. But if we do go back and let's say that we want to add in inflation as well, so let's say we're going to add in 2% inflation, then you can see that yes, it will be worth a lot more. So you're looking at about 1.4 million, and that's literally just from investing £300 a month for the next 50 years. And actually in this example, if you are investing and you're keeping in line with inflation, you could actually become a millionaire after 45 years. So yeah, I do really enjoy using this calculator because I think it's just fun to see potentially how much you could end up having by the end of a certain time frame. Now again, 45 to 50 years may seem a bit long, especially if you are a bit older. So really it's thinking about how you can potentially invest even more each year. So let's say rather than investing £300 a month, you are able to invest £500 a month. And let's look at the difference. So we're going to go back and it's going to be the same 6%. We'll keep it on 50 years. And we're going to say £500 a month. And again, what we'll do is not include inflation. Well, it turns out that actually, if we look down here, you could potentially become a millionaire within 41 years. And based on the previous example, when we didn't include inflation, that means that you could potentially shave off about 9 years just for adding another £200 a month. So guys, this is why a lot of us say that compound interest can actually be your best friend. Plus, if you do decide to include that 2% inflation rate, then you could potentially end up becoming a millionaire in just over 37 years. So for me guys, as soon as I found that out, that is why I really wanted to start investing, because look at what you could potentially achieve. Now, as a fun exercise, because you guys know that I save and invest about £1,300 a month now, I thought it'd be interesting to see what these numbers could potentially look like. So of course, let's go onto my laptop and see. I'm not going to add an initial balance now, but we're going to keep the same interest rate, and actually let's say 40 years as well, and let's just look at the whole horizon. So within the next 40 years, so basically when I turn 65, how much I could potentially have if I consistently invest £1,300 a month. And we're going to add £1,300 monthly. I'm going to take off the inflation rate for now, and then let's add it on after. So no inflation rate, guys. Yep, over £2 million, guys. The interest I would have earned is over £1.8 million. Million. I'm just a small girl living in London, okay? Like, you guys know I earn under £35,000 a year. And honestly, guys, this is why I focus so much on my spending, and I'm trying to increase my income, because the more I'm able to invest, really, the quicker I can become a millionaire, basically. And then I could potentially just retire and just not even work at all, to be honest. But you guys already know about my plans for that, so I'm not going to mention that here. And actually, let's look and see, because if I'm able to add that number in, I could potentially become a millionaire, let's see, in around 27 years. Yep, 27 years. So with my age, because I'm 25, I could be a millionaire by the age of 52. And that's not even accounting for inflation. So let's see what would happen if I added in that 2% inflation rate every year. So let's add in 2% and let's calculate, guys, £3 million. I could have £3 million by the time I am 65. And that total interest would have been just over £2 million. Again, that is just from me trying to make sacrifices and increase my income. Guys, even if you don't want to become a multimillionaire, I do think it's quite useful to see potentially how much you could have, because when it comes to things like retirement, then this is going to be quite crucial. But anyway, if we look down to see how long it would take me to become a millionaire, after 25 years. So basically by 50, I could be a millionaire. And I'm just a normal person at the moment living in my parents' house, earning under £35,000 a year. I could potentially be a millionaire in about 25 years, which I think is just absolutely mad. For me, it's just crazy, but I really hope that that sort of gives you motivation actually to really think about your spending and your savings rate, so that you can really start investing aggressively, especially if you're quite young as well, because you can see that you have time to work on your side. And again, looking at the graph, the first few years, you're probably not going to see much growth, but you can see how it starts to really compound near the end. So yeah, I'm just really excited, to be honest. And I know that if I continue to be consistent and I continue to invest and I continue to just be determined, I know that I can eventually become a millionaire if I want to. Now, of course, every year you might not get a 6% return on your money. You might even have a minus return, but on average, as we've seen in the past, it could average to about 6, 7 or 8% or even higher than that actually. So for me, it's definitely still a goal worth going for. Now, as well as seeing if I could potentially become a millionaire, I was really more so looking at my financial independence number. So if you do want me to do a video on that in a bit more detail, then just let me know in the comments below, because I'm definitely happy to talk through how I figured out how much I might need to retire, for example. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel. And let me know in the comments, are you considering to become a millionaire? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.